Welcome to Drone Exam Simplified. This channel, like the name suggests, is built around one thing: getting you to pass the FAA Part 107 drone exam. That's it. Now, the way we do that is with the Part 107 Dell system, which is built on two things working together. First, 60 FAA rules broken down into short trigger phrases. Second, the Drone Exam Logic Lens, or Dell. Dell is the decision order the FAA expects you to run automatically. On the exam, knowing the rule isn't enough. You have to know how the FAA expects you to think. So, in study mode, you'll get the rule, why it exists, a real example, and a trigger phrase tied to the rule that sticks to your brain cells. That system is available now, linked below or in the bio. All right, Section 1. This covers airspace and authorization. That means controlled versus uncontrolled, what needs clearance, what doesn't, and what to check before you launch. If you fly in the wrong spot without checking, that's a violation. If you check and follow the system, you're clear. Your job isn't memorization. Your job as a licensed PIC is to decide correctly in every single scenario they put you through. Before we jump into the first rule, the FAA does update airspace rules. LAANC grids change and TFRs pop up overnight. Staying current actually matters. So subscribe to stay updated automatically, because when the FAA changes things, and they do, you won't be caught lacking. Okay, rule 1. Before we think about altitude, visibility, or mission purpose, we have to know who controls the airspace. Authorization exists because traffic is already being managed there, and drones entering without coordination creates risk. Here's why that matters. Controlled airspace has high traffic. Manned aircraft are taking off, landing, and transitioning through. ATC manages that flow. Your drone entering without clearance creates collision risk. The FAA treats that as interference and therefore a violation. Here's an example. You're flying near a Class C airport, no authorization. That flight is prohibited. It doesn't matter if you visually did not see any aircrafts. Controlled airspace means permission first. Your first trigger phrase: if controlled, get cleared. Simple on purpose, because simple is what works under pressure. Okay, moving forward, we're gonna go through the rest of this section in drill mode. A lot of people fail the Part 107 because they did not know how to decide. The Dell system fixes that. Drill mode forces recall under order, and that's what rewires you into a Part 107 licensed operator before you ever sit for the exam. Let's keep moving. Rule 2. This rule removes hesitation once you've identified the airspace. When there's no controller managing traffic, permission is not the gate. Trigger phrase: if Class G, fly free. Rule 3. Some airspace exists to protect sensitive operations rather than manage traffic flow. In those cases, access is the deciding factor. Trigger phrase: if restricted, get permission. Rule 4. Airspace legality can change without warning based on events or emergencies. That's why timing matters just as much as location. Trigger phrase: if launching, check TFRs. Rule 5. Airport proximity alone doesn't decide legality. The airspace class around the airport does. Trigger phrase: if near airports, check class. We're at our first rapid recall checkpoint, and the point of this checkpoint is to force you to say the trigger phrases out loud. They're short, they're catchy. This trains the brain for retrieval. Pair that with the drone exam logic lens and you start deciding like a licensed operator using the Dell's rehearse order. If you want the rules organized by how the FAA actually tests them, that's what the system does, linked below. Let's go. Rule 6. Right-of-way rules exist because not all aircraft maneuver the same way. Responsibility shifts to the aircraft with the most flexibility. Trigger phrase, if manned, I yield. Rule 7. Separation is about preventing conflicts before they develop. Distance is created early, not reacted to late. Trigger phrase, if aircraft nearby, stay clear. Now we're going to do an overview of the drone exam logic lens. First, step 1, identify the domain. Determine which category of FAA rules the question belongs to. Next, step 2, identify the controlling fact. Find the single condition in the scenario that determines which rule applies. Step 3, determine the required action or limit. Identify what the FAA requires or restricts once that condition is known. Finally, step 4, make the final legal decision. Decide whether the operation is legal based on the requirement being met. Let's continue. Rule 8, ground risk increases when people are exposed beneath the aircraft. Approval determines whether that exposure is allowed. Trigger phrase, if people below, don't go. Rule 9, movement on the ground adds unpredictability and impact risk. Participation determines whether the operation is permitted. Trigger phrase, if vehicles move, don't cruise. Rule 10, emergency operations depend on uninterrupted airspace. Any interference affects response effectiveness. Trigger phrase, if emergency active, stay back. Second checkpoint, you know what to do. Say the last 5 trigger phrases out loud. Doing this right here is more effective than watching a 2-hour ground school video and hoping something sticks. That's actually it for the section. 10 airspace rules, you actually rehearse them twice in under 10 minutes. And without the Dell, most people take weeks to reach this level of simplistic understanding and still second guess themselves on the exam. Seeing the framework once helps, but running it automatically is what changes the outcomes. With the Dell, every rule is organized inside the system, so you're never guessing which decision layer you're in. You move through a consistent decision order, and that causes wrong answers to start eliminating themselves, and the correct answers become pretty obvious at that point. Here's what you get with the full Dell system. All 60 FAA rules with exact recall triggers organized by section. Dual modes, study mode that has the rule, the why, and the example, and drill mode that is focused on recall only execution. Next, the 107 simulator, which has full exam style questions that force Dell execution and gives you diagnostics on your weak steps. Last, there are a bunch of bonuses, including the trap checklist, which is a free resource that's already available in the bio. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Arrivederci.